Welcome to Mind Your Business, the channel where we are in everybody's business. If you don't mind getting in people's business, you're on the right channel. Talking about current topics and gossip. Hey, my nosy people, wagwan. Hope everyone is blessed. So I wanted to come and have a quick chat about growing up hip hop as the most recent episode has now landed. So I thought it was a good episode in terms of the fact that we got a little bit of resolution. So we know last week there was the whole mix up with Sequoia and Cree and Savannah. And I feel like, like I said last week in my recap, I feel like those two were out of line. They were just getting involved with things they didn't really need to get involved with. So I was very glad to see that Sequoia had a sit down with Brianna, and I felt like it went really well. I like Brianna anyway. I feel like, she kind of brought the right energy and said, you know what, she's going to find out the story from Sequoia herself. And she heard it, and then she introduced Sequoia to Vanessa and TT for a sit down. I thought that was really good because obviously Vanessa heard what happened. She wasn't at the event when everything went off, but she spoke to her about what she heard about the way she went at Denise. And I thought it was really good that they had like a grown people them sit down, yes, they kind of recognize who they are in terms of they are the children of these hip hop legends. So you lot can't keep up beef and keep up stupidness. So I thought it was really nice. It was on some grown people energy, and I thought it was good. They had that sit down. I thought Brianna was good to orchestrate that and put that together. I thought it was really nice to see them all sitting together. No mix up, no beef. Just showing them that, yes, we can sit down and have a discussion and clear the air, because that's exactly what happened. So, and of course, she had a sit down with Cree too. Sequoia had a sit down with Cree too. And I thought it was good that they hashed it out. I didn't really appreciate where Cree was kind of still making it like an issue. I felt like, well, Cree, you've got to take a bit of accountability. And at the end of the day, you were triggered. You can't just go around trying to lick down people because you're triggered about your fertility issues. That's not normal. So I think it's good that they had a sit down and try to hash it out. I didn't understand why Cree was trying to make an issue around colorism. I think that's a major issue in our community. And she tried to sort of come at Sequoia and talk about her colour. And I just thought, why are we doing this? At the end of the day, everyone has their struggles and we're all melanated queens. We should be coming together on this. We've all got different stories. So you're going to have your, lighter skinned girls that have got their stories, your darker skinned girls that have got their stories, but we're all melanated and we should not be switching on each other about this, just celebrate each other. So that bit really got on my nerves, but I was glad that they got to speak and try and clear the air anyway, because to me there shouldn't have been no issue between Cree and Sequoia in the first place. Of course they picked up on the story around Egypt and Sam, and the fact that Sam might be going to jail because of this assault charge, of this mix-up that he's been caught up in, and that Egypt's also caught up in. They didn't talk about Egypt's side of things, but it's mostly about Sam, because obviously he was the main person involved in it. He's telling, Egypt and Pep that he could be facing quite a long time in jail. Now, I felt like obviously Egypt knew because her reaction wasn't very shocked. It was very cool. But of course, Pep was showing a bit of concern and saying that she doesn't want to have to be visiting people in prison. She's done that before. So I thought it was good that she kind of tried to speak up to say, well, look, spoken to you about this before, can't keep having this kind of behaviour going on type of thing. So I thought, well, that's good you've actually spoken up. It's a bit late, but a bit good. I suppose better late than never, right? I still feel like she should have a lot more to say on the issue, but we'll see what happens over the coming week. What I thought about was maybe, is it a case of she feels a bit sorry for Sam because, the way he was introduced to the show, if you remember going back to the earlier seasons when Egypt first brought Sam onto the show. And I do remember one episode where she sits down and she meets his dad. And his dad basically is kind of warning her against Sam and saying that he's no good. I'm not going to say verbatim, but I remember the indication or the inference was that Sam is no good, basically. So I don't know if it was from that where she kind of got like a soft spot for him and started taking him under her wing. Because I remember there was a whole lot of stuff going on and Brianna talking about back in the day about, Pep buying him a car and help him to do this and that and whatnot. So obviously she's helped him over the time, but I'm sure she must be sitting there thinking, well, look, it helped you up to this level and you shouldn't be getting into these sort of situations right now. And knowing that you are linked to Egypt, which is linked to the family, which means their names will be in the media just because of the fact that of association, really. I also thought it was interesting, the conversation that Tyran had with TT about her wedding, where she was trying to put a bit of pressure on for him to get vaccinated. and he kind of didn't want to get vaccinated. And I think it's so bad that so many families are forcing their loved ones to try and get vaccinated or forcing them to do things against their will. Like, it's your body, your choice, and we need to respect that and not try and come down so hard on people, especially as now that people have been vaccinated and had taken it now and they're still catching the virus. So obviously it doesn't give you full coverage, so I believe it's down to you and your body, and if you feel like you need to take it or not. So I thought it was good that Tyran kind of stuck to his guns on that one, despite the amount of guilt that was being loaded at him. So respect his decision, isn't it? It's his decision. But I can understand the other side of wanting to keep people safe and all that kind of stuff as well, but let's not go too crazy with it now. So in other news, in relation to my video that I did about Pep and Tretch and the fact that I feel like Egypt needs to wake up, I had an interesting response in the comments, and it is from Nathan Wright, who, from what he says, he is Sam's dad. And I thought it was interesting that he even took the time to respond to my little video. And this is what he had to say. So he said, first off, you sound silly. Egypt is doing UFC because if you knew Egypt, you would know. She loves to fight. Second, Sam isn't riding anyone's wave, especially Egypt. He was doing music before he met her and will continue making music after, whenever that comes. Third, they are perfect for each other in every way. You haven't heard any of that music. That must be because you're not looking. He then waffles on and then says, she loves Sam because she can be herself around him and his family, something she has never had, a real family. A bit shady, because what's her mum and dad then? She didn't cut her hair because of Sam. She cut it because she was tired of all the wigs and looking a certain way for everyone else. Everyone but herself, sorry. He then goes on to say that people like me are asking the wrong questions, and she was on the show for 3 years before Sam arrived, with 3 of the people on the show who own record labels and not one signed or helped her. He then kind of shades the family and saying she has had iconic parents all her life and still no one signed her, to be exact. Before Sam, everyone said she should go back to school because she had no talent. Now Sam comes along and he is holding her back. Back from what? If her parents believed in her and her talents, she would have made it regardless of Sam. So you're saying that her parents don't believe in her now. So first you're saying she doesn't have a real family. Now you're saying her parents don't believe in her. If this is really who, he says he is. And then, then he says Sam is my son, his son, and that he knows Egypt better than any of us who run our mouth on here. And, here, her and Sam live a good life. Well, yeah, I'm sure that they do because, she's hip-hop royalty, a child of hip-hop royalty, so she's doing really well. And I'm sure Sam is benefiting from that, like I said before. And he said that they're doing well. And Sam is basically giving the ratings for the show. And he believes that the whole cast should kiss his ass for saving the show and for agreeing to be there. So basically, he feels like Sam isn't riding the wave of Egypt and Sam is actually making the show. And he seems to allude to the fact that she likes to be with Sam because she gets to see what a real family is like. She doesn't have a real family. And he also is saying basically that her family don't really believe in her talents or haven't really helped her. So that's a bit shady if you ask me. So to me, he sounds like obviously a concerned dad. But I do recall him being on the show before. When Sam arrived and actually warning Pepper about his son. So I am sort of looking at this message with a bit of side eye, only because really you've helped to create the narrative about Sam out there. Sam obviously doesn't help himself. So, you're obviously saying that the show is making him be seen in a bad light. Don't know if I can completely agree with that because whilst there is production can set people up and do certain things, the words that come out of your mouth and the actions that you take are all down to you. So, production can't force you to, get into fights or to create extra mix-up. And let's be clear, since he has been going out with her, there have been more issues. You see a side of Egypt you don't really see before where she's getting into fights and things like that. So, again, I think there's a bit of accountability there. And whether the whole cast should kiss Sam's ass, I we'll leave that up to you guys, see what you think. But yeah, what do you think of his response? Do you think that with just people being too hard on Sam? What do you guys think? Because I do think it's interesting. As a parent, you're going to want to pick up for your child. But like I said, our first introduction to you on the show was you actually warning Egypt's mum about Sam and saying not to trust him. So you kind of helped to create that narrative yourself as well. But naturally, you're dad, so you're going to, feel the way you feel. You're going to want to pick up for your son. That's natural. And, and you might feel like, as a parent, only you can talk, trash about your son. That's how you feel. But he's on a public platform, so he's going to be subjected to commentary. So from my perspective, that's what I feel it is that I covered in the last show. But I do really, wish you and your son well, because I feel like there are deeper rooted issues there that need to be healed. But anyway, what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts below. Yes, so thanks for watching that. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, share, and hit that notification bell so you know when I am uploading some more of people's business. So until then, my nosy people, stay blessed.